South Africa in the aftermath of protests which erupted over the jailing of former South African President Jacob Zuma. Over 70 people have been killed. Many of the deaths in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal provinces occurred in chaotic stampedes as thousands of people stole food, electric appliances, liquor, and clothing from stores. Shopping malls and warehouses have been ransacked or set ablaze in several cities, mostly in Zuma's home in KwaZulu-Natal province and the financial and economic center Johannesburg and surrounding Gauteng province. More than 1,200 people have been arrested in the lawlessness. On Tuesday, some COVID-19 vaccination centers were closed, disrupting urgently needed inoculations. Protests triggered by the jailing of ex-president Jacob Zuma for failing to appear at a corruption inquiry last week widened into looting and an outpouring of general anger over the hardship and inequality that persists 27 years after the end of apartheid. About 2,500 soldiers have been sent onto the streets to help outnumbered police contain the unrest.
Our South Africa Bureau Chief Betty Dibia spoke to Professor Chris Isike, President of the African Association of Political Science, on the implications of the latest violence and the role of former President Jacob Zuma.
It is to some extent about Zuma, but the whole, everything we're seeing now is what I call a combination of organized violence and protest looting. Protest looting as different from, looting that accompanies, protests before now. This is there's now an economy that people are enjoying from, protests. So when people, for example, have needs, they just kind of wait for the next protest to meet those needs. So there's an economy that is emerging from that. But apart from that, and which is also a function of the criminality we see, apart from that, this is organized deliberately by a section of the political class to destabilize the country and give a semblance of inability, a semblance of weakness from the part of the ruling class, especially the president.
The president addressed the nation twice in 24 hours, and he's been criticized quite a lot about probably the body language or the toughness of his words to the people, even while announcing that the SANDF will be deployed. How is the handling so far of this? Could it have been prevented, to get to this point? Because the signs were there.
Yes, the signs were there. Many people have said that it's a failure of intelligence because if they ought to have been intelligence gathering even before the arrest of the president. The intelligence should have picked up that there was going to be a reaction of some sort. Some of these things have been threatened by sectors of the political class before now. There was talk about making the country ungovernable. Not just by even not directly by former President Zuma, but close associates of his. So I would say that there's been a failure in that regard, and there's also been I would call it a weakness in terms of how slow the response has been. If they are measured, if they are deliberate, the government would have been able to achieve the whole purpose of public law and order policing, with of course working with the military to deter people, because the whole idea of public maintaining law and order is deterrence. But there needs to be cooperation, a sync between intelligence, between the police, and between the military, because the military don't have intelligence. They just stay on the streets to prevent, these actions from happening. But they need to then get intelligence about where these operations are going to happen next, so that they can be stationed in those places to prevent these occurrences.
Yes. Now, if you were the president's advisor, what would you be telling him? We've heard calls for state of emergency, some nationwide, some to the 2 provinces where this has been going on. What would you be saying to him if you had the opportunity?
If I were the president, I would be doing a lot of messaging, target aspect of it all, and sending messages that can rally the entire country behind him in his belief, especially to support his anti-corruption agenda, and indicating that there's going to be arrest of those masterminds, because those are the important actors. The looters are opportunists. Okay, so the focus shouldn't be too much on them. Of course, we can deter them, but the real targets that I would be targeting as president, it's not just it's the masterminds, not just to arrest them, but to delegitimize them by making them look